Hey, my handsome ladies and gentlemen, this is Shmeaty, and welcome back to Fun Friday. For those unaware, Fun Friday is a type of video here on the channel where I will commentate on these videos a bit more akin to how I would naturally. That being said, that does imply that there may be a bit more swearing in today's commentary than you may be used to from me, so if that's not your style, I completely understand. Feel free to click on another Shmeaty video, but if you're still here, I'm assuming you're down and you want to see how I was able to go 5-0 with a team like Shadow Dragonite, Shadow Quagsire, and Shadow EXCADRILL in the Great League Remix Cup. This was not an easy feat whatsoever, but if you do find enjoyment in today's video, please feel free to leave it a like and subscribe. I won't hold you too much longer though, let's get into these matches. Kicking things off with game number 1 as Shadow Dragonite is going to find a core breaker, Ferrothorn on the lead. Now Ferrothorn, obviously pretty terrible for this team to see, but we are just going to build up to just below the superpower. Let's see how this Ferrothorn's counting is. They may have counted 14, but it was only 13, and we get the shield with the Dragon Claw. That is absolutely crucial for me. I'm going to put up a shield as they do have enough for a potential Thunder, but they reveal that they are on Mirror Shot. Mirror Shot means that they are not going to throw a Power Whip into me. So for potentially the first time in Dragonite's entire Go Battle League career, it's going to be able to take 2 charge moves, and we're building up past the superpower and firing off a Dragon Claw. Are they going to give me their shield? Absolutely the fuck not. That was way too obvious. I had zero reason to bait there, and I still did it anyway. What a bozo play for me. Nevertheless, they are going to mirror shot me and snipe me with the Goodra. Boomer reaction time is working against me here, and now I've got a decision to make. I'm going to bring in my EXCADRILL, and they are going to fire off a move on alignment. Them throwing their move on alignment there as opposed to good timing is going to make the difference, as my EXCADRILL is going to be able to make 2 drill runs before they're able to make 2 Aqua Tails here. This was not a CMP tie, so if they stay in, they just let it go. Goodra getting absolutely turbo blasted by the drill run. What are they bringing in? It's a Gligar, and oh my goodness, Gligar is not ready for what's about to happen to it. Rock Slide onto the Gligar is going to get the shield, but bring that ass here, boy. I've got another Rock Slide locked and loaded with your name on it, Gligar, and it is going to do more than 50% of your HP. They are firing off an Aerial Ace just to KO my EXCADRILL. This damage is monstrous. They want no more parts of it, and in comes my Quagsire. And I don't know what this switch was about, but I am going to overfarm into the CMP tie on their Ferrothorn, and Ferrothorn absolutely lost for words with that CMP tie. We get the Aqua Tail off on the Gligar, more than enough damage to pick up the KO. GG's to this trainer. Let's see what game number 2 has in store for us, and it's going to be Shadow Dragonite leading into the Mantine. This is honestly pretty decent for me, as most Mantine in this cup are running Water Pulse as opposed to Ice Beam, but nevertheless I'm going to build up 13 Dragon Breaths just before they're able to get their Ice Beam or Water Pulse and continue farming after throwing the Dragon Claw. They're going to fire off a move here. I'm no shielding it because I don't care what this is. It's an Aerial Ace, and it does massive damage onto the Dragonite. Just before I'm able to make a Dragon Claw, they are going to fire off another Aerial Ace to pick up that KO. Very good counting by this trainer. But you know what's not going to be so good for this trainer? In comes EXCADRILL, building up past the Rock Slide. They tried to catch on 6, but that's not going to work for us. We're going to fire off this Drill Run, and Drill Run is going to do absolutely devastating damage onto the Quagsire. They're going to fire off their Aqua Tail here, but I'm going to absorb that on my own Quagsire, and that does not do enough where 2 threaten the KO, so I am not going to shield this next Aqua Tail either. We've got a 2 shield energy advantage. EXCADRILL in the back, and that is exactly the win con I'm going to play too. EXCADRILL has absolutely devastating energy to nearly everything in the format. They are going to fire off an Aerial Ace, but that's more than okay with me. Although I had energy that could have potentially threatened them, I don't really care about it. I'm going to put up a shield on this obvious Aerial Ace because EXCADRILL cannot take moves very well, but the amount of energy I have is going to be truly devastating for whatever it is they have in the back. I'm going to no-bubble the Rock Slide they leave with a tiny bit of HP. However, they have a Gligar in the back, and Gligar, you might think that it's a ground type going into our steel type, but it is absolutely cooked here. I'm going to fire off Rock Slide number 1, Rock Slide number 2 onto this Gligar. will potentiate a KO or a shield from the Gligar. What is it they want to do? They're going to put up a shield, and here I'm going to put up my shield. Excadrill falling dangerously low in HP. They are going to fire off the Aerial Ace. I'm going to throw the next Rock Slide. This looked to be a CMP tie as well. Energy management absolutely paramount when running a Pokemon like Excadrill. In comes the Mantine, and we tank the 2 wing attacks and pick up the dub. I don't know how we pulled that last game off, but shake it off. We're at game number 3 now, and it's going to be Shadow Dragonite into a Defense Deoxys. This is actually pretty fine by me, as Defense Deoxys has a very high defense stat, but it gets torn to pieces by 1-turn fast move pressure, as its HP stat is very low. Dragon Claw onto the Defense Deoxys is going to do some sizable damage to it, and they are going to build up to the back-to-back Psycho Boosts here and fire one off. Always going to shield the first, as the second would do a lot less damage as it is now, -2. I am going to no-shield the second and see what the reaction from this Deoxys is. They are going to stay in and allow themselves to get farmed down, meaning they would prefer to have switch advantage. They're going to bring in what I believe was a Walrein. Walrein no-shields the superpower, and in comes Excadrill, but they have a Gligar in back. We are perfectly fine with seeing Gligar in back because we can pull both shields from the Gligar or get massive damage onto it. So they are going to fire off a move here. I'm going to call this. I don't care what move this is, and it is going to be the dig. Big damage onto the Excadrill, and we get KO'd. Nevertheless, this is now prime time to bring in the Quagsire and start firing off these Aqua Tails, but we have to be very careful as that Walrein is still alive in the back, and a catch onto that Walrein is a guaranteed lose con for me, so I am going to fire off Aqua Tail number 1, and now building up to Aqua Tail number 2, they are going to fire off a move. I have a decision to make here. Am I going to shield? They do nuke, and that is massive. They bring in the Walrein, but this is only going to be enough for an Icicle Spear. Icicle Spear will do sizable damage, but we are going to be able to live it. And now they get farmed down. We're one off the back-to-back Aqua Tails. Is Gligar going to be able to outpace? It all comes down to this. We bring in Dragonite, potentially tossing the game, but they were one off as well. But if you didn't know, Quagsire does generally win CMP over the Gligar. GG's to this trainer. We keep narrowly escaping defeat in some of these games. Nevertheless, Shadow Dragonite leading into Mantine. We know what to do here. We're going to disrespect them even if they are running Ice Beam, but this switch tells me they are not. In comes the Shadow Steelix, but I'm perfectly fine with bringing in Exca here and firing off this Drill Run. Drill Run onto the Steelix is going to easily pick up that shield, and Steelix, terrified of the Excadrill, they are going to fire off a move. This could potentially be a crunch, so you are going to see me shield. Generally, if they only build up to a Psychic Fangs, I won't shield the first, but this is only another Psychic Fangs, so you are going to see easy no shield on this Psychic Fangs. Maybe not so easy. These Dragon Tails starting to add up, but we build up to the back-to-back moves, and Drill Run is going to do absolutely devastating damage onto the Steelix, but knowing that we have 2, they are going to no-shield. I'm going to fire off this Rock Slide onto the Mantine, and Mantine is not ready for this. 65% of your health is now gone, and they are going to farm down. I'm going to bring in Dragonite. Dragonite, not afraid of any energy from this Mantine, but this was only 5, so I am going to confidently no-shield. It is an Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace still does about 50%, and in comes the Carbink back, and they know this game is absolutely cooked. GG's to this trainer. It's going to be a curveball in our next match, as we are going to lead Shadow Dragonite into a non-Shadow Steelix. This is a terrible lead no matter what fast move they're running, but this one's on Thunderfang, trying to catch some water types by surprise. Nevertheless, they are going to respond to my Quagsire safe switch with a Mantine. Very good wall to my energy, and I am going to bait them successfully. Very risky bait, and I am now going to fire off my Stone Edge. Stone Edge onto this Mantine will do sizable damage, so they are going to double shield. And there, I'm wishing I double baited, but hindsight is 20/20. They're going to fire off a move onto my Quagsire. Aerial Ace not going to be doing enough damage to pick up any KO, so they are going to drain some more energy. I'm going to no-shield everything they throw, and Aerial Ace is going to get us a little bit on the lower side as we fire off this Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail should put them comfortably in Rock Slide range for the Excadrill, but we're going to come back in with our Dragonite instead. We're going to call that they are not running Ice Beam, and no shield, it is just an Aerial Ace, and we are going to commit to a potential farm down here. We are going to put up a shield as we do have a lot of energy stored on our Dragonite. We're going to farm this Mantine all the way down, and we've got the superpower loaded. I think I'm blind clicking it, and I am. Blind clicking that superpower is definitely the way to go. superpower onto the Mandibuzz does do a solid amount of damage, getting them comfortably into Rock Slide range once again for our Excadrill. They're going to fire off a potential Dark Pulse here, and I'm going to put up a shield. Even if it was an Aerial Ace bait, I'd be happy shielding there. They are going to attempt to catch a Rock Slide onto their Steelix, one of the only plays they have left in this game, but I assure you, that is not a Rock Slide they caught. That's a Drill Run getting absolutely farmed down. It's the Steelix, and the opponent concedes the match. Alright, now if you guys are interested in running this team, number one, don't, but number two, bear in mind the team is very frail, so energy management is going to be paramount to your success. All that being said, the team did very well, however I believe the results to not be very replicatable. I ran a couple more sets and unfortunately kinda got blasted. There was a lot of Shadow A9 lead plus Shadow Meganium on the counter switch to my Quagsire and a Poliwrath waiting for my Excadrill in the back. That was like 3 teams that I saw in one set, and that team is starting to trend a lot. So honestly, this may not be the best team, but maybe switching up the order a little bit is going to help you find a little more success. I still believe Excadrill to be a very powerful pick in this meta. All that being said, thanks again so much for watching. This has been Shmeaty. I hope to see you guys again next time, and have a good rest of your day. Bye.